Well, this is very simple, actually. It's very simple and old-fashioned, and something that the Hall of Famer here and Mr. Smith completely understand. This is about money. There's side issues. There's certain things about the system and you know, feelings and everything that are involved. This is about money. Last spring, at the end of the Heat season, Pat Riley sat down in front of the cameras and said, we're not extending Jimmy Butler's contract. He has one guaranteed year left, 1 year on an option. Jimmy Butler wanted his contract extended. Bottom line. Now he's 35 years old. You can debate about whether or not the Heat should have extended his contract after he had a year last year where he missed a lot of games, including their playoff series, but he wanted it done. And once the Heat made that decision, we were, in one way or another, probably on to this path. And maybe this regular season could have gone differently, but that's what this is about. This is about his next contract getting paid. And, you know, you could argue, and the Heat actually are, that if you're being paid $50 million this year, that you should focus on this year. And that's a reasonable position. And certainly if I was advising Jimmy, I would have advised him to try to have an incredible year. But that's not how Jimmy has decided to go. He doesn't feel in the way that the Heat are playing this year he can have a great season. And so here we are. Now, we have a big problem here because Jimmy Butler isn't going to extend with any team. And so because teams know that, they're offering the Heat right now the poo-poo platter. There is only one team that is ready to pay Jimmy Butler exactly what he wants, and that is the Phoenix Suns. And you know why that's fascinating, Molly? Because of the 29 other teams that are out there that could trade for Jimmy Butler, the team that he wants to go to, which is Phoenix, is the team that has the hardest time trading for him. Ain't just that the way that it goes in life. And so that's where we're at. We're at a genuine stalemate. I don't know how it's going to play out. The Heat are preparing internally for this to last past the suspension. Not because they've got some sort of sinister motive, but because they know what offers they've gotten and they stink. And so that's where we're at now.
Wendy, Stephen A., you and I just had a conversation. You don't reward negative behavior. I am not letting Jimmy Butler mope and pile around and then acquiesce and give him what he wants. He's been injured. He's 35, and you want me to give him what he be in line for what, Wendy? A 3-4 year deal at probably $150, $160 million? No, bro. You missed too much time. And you're right, Phoenix want him, but they've given up all their assets to get KD, to get Bradley Beal, who now seems to be on the out. I just don't get some of these guys, and I understand. Yes, you want that, but you got $48 million guaranteed this year. You got an option at $52 million. Damn. And the way he's played, yeah, we know Jimmy plays better in the playoffs, but Jimmy is getting older. He's getting nicked even more, and he seems disinterested. Now, I could be wrong, Stephen A. You probably know him better than I do, and you've been around him. But he doesn't seem as interested. It's amazing what, a couple of extra $100 million will do for you. It piques your interest, makes you want to jump out of bed early in the morning when you get a couple of extra $100 million.
Well, I wouldn't know about that yet, but I intend to.
You do know.
I do not. I don't know about that yet. But I will say this. I will say this to y'all. Here's the deal. Wendy is right in terms of the finances. I have nothing to dispute in regards to that. He was eligible for a 2-year, $113 million extension this past summer. Pat Riley made it very, very clear he wasn't going to do that. That's the number, Shannon. So we understand that part. Okay. But Wendy, what we have to understand is that we can't stop there. Listen, I've known Pat Riley for decades. He's in my book, for crying out loud, my book, Straight Shooter, okay? I've known so many people within the Heat organization. We go back decades. I got a lot of love for a lot of people within that organization. They are first class all the way. But let's understand that while we're acknowledging that, that doesn't mean that Pat Riley is perfect. And I am not blaming him. I don't want it to come across as blaming him for Jimmy Butler, because there's stuff that comes with Jimmy too. That same attitude that we want to lament, Shannon, however, is the same attitude that had him going to Philadelphia, be a dog in the fourth quarter. I mean that complimentary, in the fourth quarter, and definitely come playoff time and stuff like that. Remember, they had Ben Simmons there scared to shoot the damn basketball, even though it got worse after Jimmy departed. But you had Joel Embiid there and all of this other stuff. And Jimmy was willing to be deferential because Brett Brown let him know that you the man when it really, really counts outside of Embiid. And then the Philadelphia 76ers were chirping about whether or not they could control him or not, and should we invest, in Tobias Harris. And Jimmy said, bump it, I'm out. I'm going to South Beach. Beach. And what did he do? He goes to South Beach and he carries them to 2 finals in his first 4 years. We can't ignore that level of contribution. Why is that relevant? Because if you're Pat Riley, okay, we've overachieved with this roster because we didn't expect Jimmy and the rest of the crew to be able to do this. Well, in the aftermath of that, at least your first finals appearance with Jimmy Butler in the bubble, you had an opportunity to get KD, you couldn't pull it off. You wanted to go get Damian Lillard, you couldn't pull it off. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, and then you piggyback off of LeBron James, yes, he was going back to Cleveland, Wendy, you know this better than anybody. All of that is true. But we also know what contributed it to some degree, Wendy, was Pat Riley being that stoic, winner within, rigid, power broker that this is the way it's going to be. And LeBron James is like, wait a minute, I don't want just the money. I want a little freedom. You understand what I'm saying? I want to have my boys traveling with us if I want to. I want to be able to do some other things. I don't need the winner within in my way with every damn thing. And somehow, some way, Pat Riley, a champion on every level, who has every right to be the way that he is, Molly, Wendy, Shay, he has a problem at times adjusting to the times and the different culture that has taken place. And that's what's contributing to this, too. And we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that.
Wendy, let me ask you this. I want to take it macro here. What message did Butler's suspension say to the entire league?
I'm not sure there was one, Molly, because this is such a unique situation. I will say that Stephen A. is correct. For literally decades, Pat Riley has had no problem saying no to star players. And one of the reasons is because he's one of the strongest men we've ever seen in the NBA, but also he's backed up by the fact that he's in Miami, and if he loses a star player, he knows he can get another one down the line. That's why he's always operated. But I really think that this is just, look, 5 years, the first 5 years of Jimmy Butler, they had 2 finals appearances and the conference finals where they lost in Game 7, where Jimmy took a 3 in the final 20 seconds that could have won the game. They could have gone to 3 finals with Jimmy. This has been a good association. It's worked out. And here's something else that's true. When Jimmy was unhappy in Chicago, he forced his way out. When he was unhappy in Minnesota, he forced his way out. When Philadelphia didn't give him what he wanted, he said he wanted to be in South Beach, and they pulled a sign and trade out of their you-know-where. The Miami Heat have done this for decades as well. They made salary cap magic happen. It was like a 5-way sign and trade. They pulled Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has always gotten what he's wanted behaving this way.
I will say this. When we bring up Miami and we talk about how things have worked out for them, we have to pay attention to, again, what I brought up about Pat Riley, because it's incredibly important. And when you think about this suspension, I'm going to say something nobody else has said. I don't think this makes Miami look good. Do you know why? Because of what you pointed to, Shannon, the culture of the modern day player. We can lament it, but it still exists. So let me get this straight.
Yep.
I said I want to get my joy back. I said, they asked me, do you think it's here? He said no. And I understand that that wasn't the only reason he got suspended. But what he said publicly was not a crime. So to suspend him for 7 games and to cost him over $2 million for simply saying, I'm not happy and I want out because you didn't suspend